Hello everyone, we are doing a tier list for the Stratagems in Helldivers 2. So, we are going to get started with all of the weapon stratagems. And we are going to be placing the machine gun in C tier. While it is a viable early game option, it falls off really hard as opposed to all the other weapons just in this tier in general. Useful in like lower tier shit, but other than 5 or 4 even, it falls off a cliff. It's good up until that point of difficulty. Anti-material rifle, basically never use it. Just pick a different stratagem. It is mediocre at best. It has 0 penetration power. Even if it does pen armor, it is borderline useless with its reload, and it is fucking awful. I hate using that gun so much. The Stalwart is actually better than the MG. It has a faster reload, which is good, and you can reload on the go, which helps. However, even though that I really do want to put it in B tier, it's probably going to be just slightly higher than the MG, just because of, MGs in general. You have higher utility items that you can use to kill random adds, and we'll get to those stratagems later as we discuss that. EATs. S tier. EATs are disgustingly good. They have no right being as good as they are. They are one use, which, hey, not everyone's cup of tea. They are on a 70-second cooldown, and then also if you get your charge time down, it goes to 60 seconds, which is just fucking absurd. So you get 2 rockets every 60 seconds, and you can just kind of dance around it. They are amazing for killing out chargers and tanks and hulks and literally anything that looks at you funny. They are a godsend to drop down and call in. Also, teammates can pick them up, and then you no longer need a backpack slot for it. And that is the reason why Recoilless goes in A, because while it is a reloadable rocket launcher, someone is required to have a backpack for it, and it's not very good in that regard. The backpack slot is so much more viable in other objects, which I'll get to a little later, that I don't believe it is as important as people want it to be. And then we have Flamethrower right here. Flamethrower is going straight in the fucking D tier, right in the trash. That is the worst stratagem in the game. I don't know why people use it. Sure, it kills small adds quickly, but once again, there are other items in the stratagem tiers that allow you just to absolutely obliterate thousands of small little adds no matter what you do, and Flamethrower is not it for the heavy weapon slot. Autocannon, B tier. Not the biggest fan of the autocannon. It does have its uses. However, I believe that rockets are better at penning armor and better at destroying armor in general. So with the autocannon also requiring a backpack slot, I believe that it goes down to B tier. If it didn't require a backpack slot, you can just kind of load it like our next weapon, then it would be very good, probably A or S tier. Railgun, it is fucking disgusting. Probably the best gun in the game, just in general. It has ridiculous armor pen. It is disgustingly good on both robots and bugs, and with its unsafe mode where you just charge it up and fucking send it, it is disgustingly strong. It one-shots, I believe, hulks. It one-shots almost damn near every robot, and then it absolutely decimates chargers, fucking puts them in the dirt. Spear, it is going in B tier. If it worked properly, if it ever gets fixed, which God, I hope it does, it is going to be the best weapon in the game. Spear one-shots Bile Titans, it one-shots tanks, and while it does have a backpack slot, I believe that backpack slot is highly versatile in being utilized as a spear loader, because the spear is disgusting at killing your big targets. The thing that you point that at, it needs to kill. However, currently there's a bug where it doesn't lock on properly. It either works perfectly fine and you get the lock on and it shoots, or it like jumps all over the place, or it just refuses to lock on. From my testing, it seemed to have been when there's too many enemies on the screen and it can't really pick a target. most likely they're just going to fix this as pick the biggest creature on screen and target that, which is perfectly fine. That's what the spear is for. So hopefully that's the fix that gets utilized in this. Now we are moving on to the orbital weapons. The orbital Gatling. I did not mean to put that in S tier. It is a C tier. It is all right. It does its job, you know. However, as you move further up into the list, it certainly gets way, way better. So it is usable, but I wouldn't really suggest it. I'm actually going to put that above the 2 MGs because it is a very quick cooldown. So it's not too bad to actually utilize. And then the Airburst Strike, that is going right under Gatling. It doesn't pen armor, which is fucking awful. I honestly believe anything that pens armor is pretty bad. However, it is on a very short cooldown, so you can kill just a absurd amount of small adds with it. And then we have the 120s. The 120 HE Barrage is mediocre. It covers a large area, yes. However, it is a friendly fire machine. If you want to kill your friends, this is the one to use. And the next one also, which is why it is going right next to it and lower. Because the 380mm heavy barrage does the same exact thing as the other one, just at a wider radius. Don't see a point of either of them. They cover a huge area. They lock down giant portions of the map, which I believe would be better if you could actually move through them as you are like aggroing mobs or pulling them through. Locking down large portions of the map are only viable if you know what you're doing. And when we talk about the mines down here, I will discuss when those are viable. And now we are on to the Walking Barrage. The Walking Barrage is certainly better than the other heavy barrages because it can be utilized to actually throw out in front of you, and as the name implies, walk in front of you. So it's a very good ad clear and kind of position granting stratagem. However, I don't believe it is super viable in higher level content because most of the time it's just going to be giant fucking mobs in front of you. The orbital walking barrage doesn't seem to want to destroy those mobs because they're just super, super tanky. Then we move on to the laser strike. I believe the laser strike is a very, very viable orbital. That's why I put it in high B tier. It is extremely good at killing biles. It is extremely good at killing chargers, tanks, hulks, literally anything that you want to kill. It's amazing for ad clear. However, the only reason that I put it in B tier is because the cooldown is absurdly long. It is too long for what that thing does, and it only has 3 charges in a mission, which seems absurd to me. I don't know why anything doesn't have unlimited charges just on a cooldown. The orbital laser is not strong enough for it to justify the 3 uses, and I honestly have no idea why they put a 3 use count on the orbital laser. Rail strike. Rail strike is gross. Probably under rail. Rail strike, exactly like Railgun. Railcannon strike nukes whatever the fuck you throw it at. It kills biles, it kills chargers, it kills stalkers because those things are fucking cancerous. Nukes damn near everything that you want it to be thrown at. It kills. Now, of course, it doesn't kill tanks and biles in one shot. However, it does weaken them enough to be able to get them to a one-shotting state, which is super, super viable, especially in 7 to 9. Rail strike is extremely viable, and it is a significantly smaller cooldown than orbital laser, which I have already discussed. And then we move on to Strafing Run, another kind of strike that I don't believe is super viable in endgame. However, it does kill a lot of random adds. It kills a significant portion of adds, and it's super controlled. It kills everything in front of you. However, the fact that it doesn't pen armor really, really hinders it right now. And then we have Eagle Airstrike. So this one's actually a tough position for me. I believe it's high C tier. If it was a better just overall killing potential, it would go higher. However, I believe the next stratagem on the tier list actually does its job, just a better version of it. And speaking of which, the cluster bomb. The cluster bomb is very, very strong. It is, I believe, the strongest ad clear in the game, stratagem wise, as opposed, before we get to sentries, of course, because sentries are literally the whole point of a sentry is to kill ads. But I believe cluster bombs, they can clear ads extremely well. They can clear hive nests and stuff like that. And it kills the small little things that you don't want to deal with extremely well. The only issue with these is that they kill your teammates like fucking crazy. So you kind of have to play strategic with it. You kind of have to play it kind of smart. Make sure your teammates aren't in the way. Napalm Strike. It's good. It's solid. It locks down areas, but not as egregiously as these two, the HE Barrages. It locks down areas. It kills small mobs. It kills kind of mid-tier mobs. Kill those very, very small kind of claw bugs. And it does pen the small armor ones, the ones with the shield faces, and it works pretty well at disposing of those. Jetpack, low C tier. It is okay. It uses up a backpack slot, and I believe that is its biggest detriment. If that could just be a active thing that you can throw on your feet, it would be extremely viable. But the fact that the increased movement takes up your backpack slot, I just honestly believe that it is not worth it at all. It is fucking awful, to be honest. The backpack slot can be utilized for so many different items, and I just don't believe that utilizing the backpack slot for the actual jump pack is necessary in any mission, unless you just want to fuck around and use it. The smoke, it's viable in the right mission. It's not awful. The amount of smoke that it sends out is very, very useful. However, as you get later on in the game, you unlock smoke grenades, which is essentially the same goddamn thing. The only thing you're using smokes for are for automatons, and grenades, in my opinion, are not very good against automatons, so you might as well use smoke grenades. So the smoke airstrike is usable. However, it's only strong against automatons when you are trying to extract, trying to get civilians out, like the current defend mission right now. That is the only time this is a viable option. However, they can't shoot you if they're dead. So it's kind of in a weird position where it's good to use, but if every mob is dead, what's the point of having it? Then we move on to 110 Eagles. They are extremely good, probably even A tier. They are ridiculously strong. They kill chargers, they kill stalkers, they mess up Biotitans, they mess up damn near every automaton. They're extremely targeted, which is ridiculously powerful in this game. I don't think people truly understand how strong targeting is yet, just because it limits the actual damage that you can do to your friendlies. And I believe that friendly fire is the most deaths I have had in this game, is to friendly fire. Whether that be my friend cluster bombs me or I get shot in the head as I'm running through. Truly, stratagems nuke you really, really hard. And something targeted like that very well against damn near all the larger enemies in the game. 500 kg. It is gross. It is very strong. It will 100% nuke a Bile-Titan. It will 100% nuke a Charger. Whatever the hell you want dead. And it hits and it kills. The only issue that I have with 500 kgs right now is that they seem to seemingly hit scan, which is super bizarre. So if there's a pebble, a corpse, a giant rock, it seems to hit that and then it negates all the damage. Even with that bug though, I believe that it is very, very much an S tier stratagem. It is very strong at everything that it does, and if you want that one creature dead, that is your bet. That was actually utilized for when my team ran into, I shit you not, 16 Bile Titans in one extract level and one egg destroy level. And if we didn't have Eagles, we would not have beaten that level. And I truly believe that Eagle 500 kg is the reason why that level didn't seem as hard as it should have been. And now we move on to the orbital stratagems on the bridge. So we have Orbital Precision Strike. It is targeted, so once again, it goes high up. I believe that targeted stratagems are very strong. They work well. They destroy things very consistently. However, this gets outclassed very, very quickly by the other orbitals. So that's why it's in C tier. I truly don't believe it has a place in high-end content, but it is usable for lower-end content. Gas, C tier, bottom of C tier. It is good. Don't get me wrong. It's very strong. However, it seems to take forever to kill anything, which is awful. I don't understand why it takes forever to kill things. I mean, I get it, because if it killed things fast, it would just be in everyone's loadout, and it's on a very, very short cooldown. So it's very strong in that regard. However, locking down areas to that extent while not killing anything seems to be kind of a non-catch-22. Because if it locked down the area but it killed everything super quick, you would use it. But since it locks down an area and doesn't kill anything, it seems to just be kind of mediocre at higher end content. The Orbital EMS Strike, it is a D tier option. The reason for that, it gets outclassed significantly by the Mortar Strike EMS. It's borderline useless. I don't understand why anyone would pick it up. It is worse than the Flamethrower and the anti-personnel rifle, because at least those two things can kill things. This one just shuts down areas, but not for very long. And I don't believe that that is viable enough for me to use and utilize in a loadout. Smoke cover. Same thing as the Eagle Smoke. The Orbital Smoke is just a giant grenade of smoke, viable in some automaton missions, but once again, it gets outclassed by just regular smoke grenades. And once again, if something is dead, it can't shoot you. So I don't believe that's super necessary. HMG, it is better than the anti-personnels, I'll tell you that much, but it is not very much better. It locks you down in place. It does pen armor, but I don't believe that that is a viable enough option for it, because it does lock you down in place and takes you out of the fight. While it could be good in certain situations, I don't believe those situations will ever come to arise, because that is awful by just locking you down in place. Shields, bottom of C tier. It is okay. It does what it's supposed to do. However, the cooldown is awful. It is 75 seconds, but when you throw that down, you want it to be longer. But when you get one rocketed by a tank and it's gone, and then every automaton is shooting at you, it's like, what's the fucking point of even using this? And we'll get to that when we get to the shield backpack, and I'll talk about why that one's so much better. Tesla Tower, viable in the right mission. It's alright. It's same kind of thing as the smokes. It works well in defend missions. However, there's a lot of good things that work in defend missions. So truly, this is probably actually D tier, the more I think about it. With HMG turret just barely getting ahead of it, because HMG turret actually won't kill your allies. Well, this is fucking ridiculous at killing your allies. It kills everything that ever existed in front of it, and it's a nightmare to deal with. Then we have regular landmines. Probably just above Gatling. Landmines are good for locking down areas. Once again, lockdown areas is very, very strong in this game, especially for defend missions. However, for like any other mission, I don't believe landmines are super viable, just because they are super dangerous for allies. If you run through a landmine field, you most likely just straight up die. And that is awful feeling, dying to your friend's landmine. Supply pack, it is S tier, right under Railgun. Supply pack is so good, especially paired with our next stratagem, But Supply Pack is one of, if not the best backpack that you could have, just because it gives you, I believe it gives you 2 grenades and 2 stims, which is ridiculous in Helldive. It gives you all of your ammo back because you are constantly running out of ammo in Helldive. Also give it to other allies, which is very, very strong. Like if your ally's running at you saying, hey, I need a stim, you can run over, give them supplies, and they'll be topped up and good to go. Supply Pack is probably the best backpack slot, right in front of Shield for me. Personal Shield, once again, we'll get to that in a second. GL, right under Support Pack. Grenade Launcher is grossly strong. It kills spewers insanely fast. It kills quite a few things very, very quickly, and that's why it's so strong. It kills nests. It gets a ridiculous amount of ammo, and if you pair it with a supply pack, it just gets topped up indefinitely off of that one supply pack. My friend Vandal actually uses supply pack and GL loadout on Hive, like destroy eggs and blitz search and destroys for bugs, and he doesn't die. The only reason he does die sometimes if he gets bullshitted by the game, which happens to us all, but it's straight up ridiculously strong combo, and I believe the GL is the second best heavy weapon to call down for allies. Laser, it is dog shit. I don't know why it's in the game. It's borderline useless. It's so obtusely weak that it just doesn't even make sense to even utilize. It kills basically nothing. It's like if you have the Gas Strike, but just a weaker handheld version. Plus it overheats. It honestly, don't even bother with it. It is awful. Then we have Incendiaries right under regular mines. Incendiary Mines, once again, very strong, locks down areas. However, not as strong as regular landmines. I believe regular landmines are just the superior landmine to use. The Incendiaries do lock down more of an area because I believe they blow up and kind of spread out the fire. However, the landmines just blow up and instantly kill things. So I would always pick regular landmines over Incendiaries if you have the option. The Rover, it is alright. The Rover backpacks, they're decent utilization of your backpack slot. Currently it is bugged, so it doesn't overheat. However, I believe with the Rover backpack, when it does get fixed, it's going to be just like the other backpack, but slightly worse, which I will get to. I believe that the laser is just a stronger utilization of your backpack than the regular Rover. So we are on to Ballistic Shield. Don't even bother. Truly. Just don't even bother. It is awful. If you want a shield, we will talk about you using a different shield. But the Ballistic Shield backpack is awful. It pulls you out of using your main weapon, which is your main damage dealer. And it's kind of only good against automatons. But at the point that you unlock this, it's basically useless and null and void, because there's so much better items to use in the backpack slot. Arc Thrower, it goes with everything else. It kills ads very quickly, but I don't believe that it is utilized to the point where it kills ads effectively enough. Truly, it is just one of the shittiest guns that I've ever used. It feels awful to use as well, which I just dislike entirely. I don't know who kind of tinkers with those, but they definitely need a buff in order to utilize it better. We have Shield Generator Pack. Very, very strong. I believe it's above Recoilless. It is the second best backpack. It blocks melees, it blocks bullets, it blocks damn near everything. It blocks chargers shooting at you, it blocks spewers, it blocks Biotitans. It is... I don't want to get hit, so you run this backpack. It is significantly better than this because it moves with you, and it is just a ridiculously strong backpack item. It recharges super fast as well. I believe it's like a 5 to a 5.5 second cooldown on recharge. So you just run, hide for a second, and then you have this big old bubble above you. And it seems to work extremely well against bugs and automatons, in my humble opinion. Gatling Sentry, Machine Gun Sentry, gets outclassed very, very quickly. Not very strong. It kills ads very quickly, but I believe that it gets outclassed extremely fast by the other turrets. So I honestly wouldn't even use this the second that you get our next one, Gatling Sentry, which I believe is actually above Autocannon in my opinion. It fries small mobs. It does have a health detriment to it. However, once you get the health upgrade and you get the ammo upgrade and the helm, you get extremely good utilization out of the Gatling Sentry. It's very good at killing these small mobs that are fucking super annoying to deal with. And now we have the Mortar Sentry. It is the best sentry in the game, bar none. Don't get me wrong, it kills teammates. It kills a lot of things that you don't want it killed. It will kill you. I know that it will, because my Mortar Sentry has killed me a plethora of times. However, it is the most ridiculous thing I have seen in a video game in a very long time. It has ridiculous range, ridiculous ammo conservation, ridiculous health pools if you throw it in a place where mobs can't get it. So essentially you have I think it's a 7.5 second cooldown between shots, and it's a 4-shot barrage. You essentially have a walking barrage, a targeted walking barrage that is just nuking things from wherever you want. And also, if you look up in the sky, you can see where they're going, so you can kind of protect and predict where they're going to land. And you can see where mobs are coming from if you don't see any in particular. Because this thing has ridiculous range, and it will pretty much just kill whatever the hell you put down on, including yourself. So be careful on that. We are now on the Guard Dog. Don't use it. It seems to be just awful. It's an awful utilization of backpack space. I don't know why you would use it. Of course, there's a better option in the laser Rover. However, the Guard Dog has a crazy long cooldown for some reason, and it runs out of ammo. So truly, it is an awful backpack to use because there's so many more items that can be utilized in that backpack slot. Autocannon Sentry is the second best sentry in the game. It deals with significantly stronger targets than the Gatling turret, and it can stagger chargers if they get like a running start. This autocannon is also very, very good. It kind of seems weak when you first get it, but once you get the upgrade to make it spin around faster, the upgraded ammo and the upgraded health, of course that is farther down in the tech trees, but once you get those kind of tech upgrades for it, it becomes a force to be reckoned with. Vandal actually throws these in the middle of hives as he's running and destroying them, and it just spins around like a fucking helicopter and nukes things off the planet for him as he's running around and destroying the nests. The next one is the Rocket Sentry. It needs help. Seems to have a very, very slow fire rate, very, very slow turn speed, even with the upgrades. While it does target big creatures target it. So while it does shoot relatively hard, like it hits pretty hard when you kill things, it's not very good just based on ammo conservation and turn speed. EMS turret, it has its uses. I believe that it is strong, but not as strong as I would want it to be. I think its cooldown is kind of ridiculous, just how fast it shoots. I believe it waits until it is actually completely dissipated EMS field before it shoots another round in the air. Also, if you have more than one, it seems to target the same thing if you throw them close together It has targeting issues, which is not the biggest deal because it's an automated turret. However, I don't believe that it is good enough to be higher than a B tier. Now, of course, these are your standard stratagems that everyone gets. Viable in the right mission if you don't have a full squad. Obviously S tier, and obviously S tier. Just usual stratagems. This one gives you a full resupply. It is disgustingly good, obviously. This one calls in backup. Obviously very, very good. And that is my tier list. I hope you guys enjoyed it. If you have any questions about it, or if you have any thoughts about it, please put it down in the comments section below. And I appreciate you guys watching this video. Thank you guys so much. I am putting out some more Helldive content relatively soon here. Just waiting for the boys to actually be able to log into the game because the servers are currently dying. Just egregiously dying. So, when we get back up and kicking, we are going to get some more Helldive content for you guys. So, thank you guys so much for watching, and have a great day.